Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Strengther, brought to you by CXO Digital Pulse. In this special series, we spotlight the inspiring stories of resilience, courage, and perseverance shared by women who have made a significant impact in their respective fields. We have a very special guest with us today. She is a leader in the tech industry and have been vocal about women empowerment across workplaces as well as in entrepreneurship. During her school days, she was fond of maths and science, and that led to her pursuing bachelor's of engineering electronics and communication in the late 1980s. She started her career in 1992, and since then she has been soaring and breaking all glass ceilings. And it has been over 3 decades of her doing and performing way above and beyond. Currently, she's the managing director of Broadridge Financial Solutions Private Limited. To gain more insights into the importance of challenging biases and accommodating diversity, we welcome Sheenam Ohrie. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me here, Pradeep. Thank you.
Great. I would say it's indeed our pleasure to have you with us today. And let's jump directly to our questions where we delve into more about your journey and some inspirations that we can derive from it.
Excellent.
So Sheenam, could you share with us some pivotal moments in your career that shaped you into the leader you are today? Because what I understand, you started your career in 1992. Things were definitely not as smooth as what it is today for the women leaders that we are observing. So, how have been the pivotal movements, and what has been your belief?
So, Pradeep, when I started off in 1992, diversity was not a word of fashion, right? The number of women in an engineering college were really limited. Today, when we go out and hire, we can hire 60 to 70% of our hires are young women from colleges. But at that point of time, we hardly had 10 to 20% of the students being women, right? So really the word and the importance of diversity did not exist at that point of time. It was something that came in later. From going back to your question, right, on the pivotal moments in the leadership, I think 2 or 3 things that I would want to bring out. I have in my career never said no to an assignment. So as I was growing up, and I started my career in a startup. So there was a lot of things that we needed to do, which was over and beyond the job of a software developer. And if something came on the table, I would invariably, accept it and make it happen. What that meant was that I learned a lot of things that possibly other people did not have the opportunity to learn. Immediately after my son was born, I took a decision that I would not travel out. And being a fintech startup that needed to send its people to customers, I needed to be in Bangalore. I was in Bangalore at that point of time. And ensuring that, the company does not lose out because of the fact that I'm not contributing to the top line of the organization. I ensured that I did a lot of things. That helped me. I am where I am today. One of the reasons is that. So if an assignment comes your way, I would recommend take it, right? Make it happen. The second is in 2004, after this, long hiatus of not traveling, suddenly my manager came and said, I need you to go and take over this red customer that exists. And go and find out if this is something that go and change it basically to green, right? And long story short, I rebelled a lot. I told them that, if you want me to go, you can tell me to go, because I'd never done a customer implementation all my life. And,
Mhm.
just going and taking over an implementation as the lead of the implementation and converting a red account in a region where we had aspirations to grow into green was not something that I thought I could do. But my boss was really adamant. Um, that assignment of about 2 years is what led me to leave that company, because I found out I could do much more than I thought I could ever do. Right. So, my second thing for people is, sometimes there are people who know you more than you do, and you have the confidence and the belief in your abilities far beyond what you have in yourself. Right. So, listen to them. They are your well wishers. And sometimes, that's your destiny game changer. To me, truly, that assignment changed who I was, changed the way I was perceiving myself, changed the way I believed what I could do about things and how could I make things happen. So to me, that was really a pivotal moment. um, since then, I've changed about 3 jobs, and each of those jobs have been in areas which have been very different from the previous job. From iFlex, I went into business objects. Business objects got acquired by SAP. Very different domains, very different culture. From there, I went to Infosys. I was, doing delivery and support, which I had never done in my previous avatars. Was more engineering. From there to Dell, which was in an IT kind of role, but more back to engineering, but IT. I'd never done IT earlier. And then now this role, which is very, very different from the past roles, right? So I think 2004 was the pivotal moment for me, if I have to define one pivotal moment. But every change in the assignment has been a fabulous journey of learning and of self transformation.
Okay. And these were really important aspects because at times we are dropped down with all those challenges, and it's really important to find the opportunity within the challenges and always grab a one. So that aspect is really commendable, I would say, Sheena. And over how you have gained all these experiences and grew, we understood you also emerged as a proponent of diversity and inclusion within the industries wherever you went. And that was an amazing part because you were somehow leading the beacon for others as well, I would say. So, what initiatives, Sheenam, have you found most effective in creating the more inclusive environment in the organizations?
I think at the foundation of all of this, Pratik, has to be a trust that you can build in the system, right? Um, and the way you build trust is by having open dialogue. So bringing women together and getting them to talk about the issues that they face, right? Sometimes can help you find solutions that generally, when you are, just in a transaction mode in the organization, you will not find. um, Enabling women through mentorship, through support, through sponsorship, to put the elephant on the table, right, is something that I've found as a very powerful tool. Okay, in the journey of of just getting stronger women leaders out. Intrinsically, women have the ability to make a difference. They bring very different kind of talents to the table. But from a culture perspective, you know, at least when I grew up, I don't think our children are growing up that way. But when I grew up, there was a lot of, subservience that we have seen from, in relationships. And that kind of affected most of us, right? Just putting that question into people's mind as to why is that necessary? How can you do something different? Um, Enabling women to think differently is, I think, very important. I'll give you an example. During COVID, somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn. I didn't know this person at all. This woman was based Was not even based in Bangalore, was based in another city in India. And she said, I've taken a break. I've got two small children. Um, and I want to get back, right? I don't know what to do. So I said, what's the problem? Right? You're not, everybody's working from home. You're on a break. You're on a sabbatical. Just go back. So she said, no, my family doesn't want me to keep a servant, which essentially means that I have to do all the work. I have to take care of the two children. And I then don't find time to work. I get tired. I don't have the energy left. So I asked her a simple question. I said, are you happy? And took her some time to say no. Okay. And then I asked her another question. I said, if you go to your spouse and tell him that you are not happy, what do you think his reaction would be? And she didn't know. Right? She was very, very hesitant to do that. I said, just go and tell him no. What will happen? The situation will not change. Just go and tell him that I really love the family. I want to do what I'm doing, but I'm not happy. And she did it. It took her about a month, and we kept talking. I kept pushing her to do it. And the husband said that if you're not happy, tell me how you will become happy. And they kept a servant. It's as simple as that. Sometimes the bias is all here, right?
True.
She never even thought she should check with her husband, right? It was as simple as that one tweak. So I think for women who are in positions which are a little bit better than the other women in the organization, our jobs are to ask those questions and to enable the women themselves to put the elephants on the table, right? When you do that, you would definitely find the other person responding better. I'll give you a simple example, right? This has happened in numerous cases that I've talked to women about. You're in a meeting, something happens in the meeting, and you don't feel good about it. What would you do, right? You have two options, or maybe three. You don't do anything about it, you keep sulking, it's in your back of your mind, it's making you unhappy. You go and talk to a friend, don't do anything else about it. Okay, you've vented out, a little bit more happy. Or you go back to that person one-on-one and say, you made me feel this way, and it didn't generate happiness. Guaranteed, 99.99% of the time, the other person didn't even know that he or she was doing something like that. By saying that, you have helped the other person, you have helped yourself. So I think the job that women like me should have is just to create that trust, that people can come and talk and get their inner fears out. And our job after that is to help them fight the biases in their own mind and then go and talk to the system. That would be my thing.
Great. And this is very well quoted, Sheena, because majority of time we have been talking about the external biases, the elephant which is not even there in the room and it's creating various hindrances on our mind. But at times the biggest elephant is right there in our mind and we do not address it.
Yeah.
Because it never comes to us in a conscious or unconscious way that, let's address this first. So, basis the experience and what have been you talking with other women, which is a major, bigger hindrance? The personal, internal biases or the external biases?
See, Pratik, the men of today have seen women being successful. And they want their daughters, their nieces to be successful. Okay? So they want to make a difference. Inherently, they may not know how, but they want it. Okay? I don't think crossing anybody's heart Any man will say, I don't want my daughter or my niece or my friend's daughter not to succeed, right? And I'm talking from majority of the urban population, not so much from a rural population.
Mhm.
Considering that, I think it is now left to the women to figure out what they need to do to get out of their own self-imposter syndrome. Are you asking for help? Are you stating what you need in the positive? Are you understanding your ecosystem and leveraging that ecosystem enough? Or are you still hiding behind who you are and your own biases? How many times do women ask themselves, can I do it? Versus, I don't think I can do it. There's a very powerful bit in saying, can I do it? Versus, I don't think I can do it. You've already decided in the second instance that you cannot do it. In the first instance, maybe you don't have a path ahead, but at least you want to find yourself a solution. And then if there is an external barrier, there are now opportunities available for you to go out and find out how to overcome that external barrier. And women do it these days. Like I was talking about this lady, there was a lady from Canada who reached out to me during COVID. Okay, very recently, somebody wrote to me in LinkedIn and said, I want to talk to you. I need mentorship. I'm stuck. Right? So, if you are there in the market and women are reaching out to you externally, you should help. But not many women do that. Right? How many women get rid of their own glass ceiling and say, let me go out and ask for help? In my entire career in the last 5 years, right, 5 years of my career, maybe 10 women have reached out to me. And I have helped all 10 of them. How many women like me exist in the industry, and therefore how many more women can be helped? Right? So I think that is really, really key. So that's one component. The second component, external biases exist. Some are subconscious, some are subconscious, unconscious biases, right? And I think it's important for women like us to go out and say, you didn't do the right thing here. You didn't say the right thing here. Right? Make people conscious. If there is a bias that you are seeing, you're witnessing, bring it out. Right? If you have the power to influence it, okay, go out and influence the change in a policy and a guideline to bring that in. Okay? It's important that you do that. It's important that you use the privilege of what you have to actually make a difference. It's important to use the privilege that you have to actually influence a behavior change. And then it's also important for you to influence the larger crowd, right? So it has to be a journey of both. Today, when we talk about diversity, we are really not talking about diversity. We're talking about equitability and equity. And I think it is the responsibility of women now, as much as the men, to make that happen. Okay. I would, and I do that very much. I go out and tell men how they can be better allies. Because from diversion to inclusion, but now to equity and equitability, you need the men.
True. I think that support is something which works very well if you have allies, be it the men allies or the women allies, because women are there for the emotional support and trust, and we equally want the men allies for that networking acceptance and for that growth also, because until unless they are passing on that word, that equitability won't be achieved. So I was saying that once women receive the support that they were looking for, how do you suggest that they maintain the resilience and stay motivated in the face of challenges or the setbacks that they face in the professional environment?
That's a tough one. Um, so let me draw a parallel to you, right? women who are mothers, right? I will relate to this. Um, when your child starts going to school, and let's assume for some reason is not doing very well, what would a mother do? A mother would go out, find out what needs to be done. Option one, option two, option three. She will not give up till she finds out what works and makes it happen. So there's persistence there, there's patience, there's creativity, and we do all of that without any stress. There is tension, there is stress, child is not doing well, we need to make some things happen, but it comes very naturally to us. But suddenly, when the same thing happens in an environment in office, we stop doing it. And we say, no, we can't make this happen. Intrinsically, we are really strong. We can make a difference. We know how to make a difference if we want to, right? It's just some fears that we have within ourselves that stops us from doing it. Now, things happen in any environment, right? You're in a relationship personally. If it is not going well, what would you do? Okay, you would try to a degree and then you would move out. It's the same thing with an office or a professional environment, right? You give it your best, you do things positively, you build your resilience, okay? But if things are not working out, there's an option outside that is waiting for you that may be better, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe intrinsically that if something bad is happening to you, there's something good waiting in the pipeline to happen to you, right? You just have to go out and find out. In a 30 year plus long career, there are at least 4 or 5 times when, career was at a low. You pick yourself up and you build it back, right? You say, no, I'm not going to give this up. This is important for me. This is not something that I will be able to live with myself. So I think, to me, one of the tools that I use, right, is to see if I am doing things properly, right? Deep introspection. And if I'm convinced that there is nothing else that I could be doing differently, I'll try to change the situation. I'll try to change my environment. If that doesn't happen, then you have to do the ultimate change in the environment and find yourself a new job, right? Because there are jobs available. Sometimes in organizations, there is a glass ceiling, right? There is a ceiling to what your manager believes you can do, right? That ceiling could be because of your capability. It could be because of your capability in that environment. It could be because of your manager's capability. Now you have to understand which one it is. The first one is in your control totally, and you can change that capability, and you should. The second one and the third one, you have to make effort to make it change, right? So if you think that the problem is in that particular ecosystem, is there an IJPU that you can apply for? If it's the third one, you have to go out and find yourself a job, right? It's not something that you can do sitting where you're sitting. So just sulking or saying there's somebody who's being partial to me is not going to help, because it will happen. Let's understand it will happen. You cannot choose your manager, and there will be times in your life when your manager is not as capable as you are. What do? Right? You have a choice. You can just sit there and sulk and talk about it and bitch about it, or you can go out and make a difference to your own life. I would do the second. So build your own resilience, okay? Define what are those boundary levels for you to not act, to act differently, or to make a transformation. And go out and do that.
Okay, great. And this is a great advice, Sheenam, because at times we are stuck with the scenarios and we are not having a different angle to it, because we are just focusing on the perspective from which we can view the challenge. but not from a wider aspect or say thinking out of the box. And that is something very critical. So, is there any other piece of advice that you would like to share with our audience?
I think one thing that I have learned through my career is that you never stop learning. Okay. I would think that is something that every woman and man actually should continuously focus on. How can you continuously upgrade yourself? How do you make time in a really busy schedule with an aging parent, with a sick child, with a demanding family life and a demanding professional life, still to find 2 hours in a week to spend on upgrading yourself? 2 hours is not tough, right?
True.
It's 20 minutes every day. That's what it is, right? When broken down to that, it is 20 minutes every day. How do you find that time, that energy, that intention? So invest in yourself, upgrade yourself. That would be advice number one.
Okay.
Advice number two to women specifically is invest in networking. Okay. Pre-COVID, women used to come and tell me, no, I can't go out to parties. I can't stay back late. I don't smoke, so I'm not in the smoking alley. And then COVID happened. Nobody was smoking together. Nobody was having drinks together. Okay. Still men networked and women didn't. How? Right? So make networking a part of your life. That would be the second thing. Third is find yourself multiple mentors. Not one, multiple mentors. Okay. What that does to you is it gives you a perspective of different and diverse views that can enable you to decide what you want and what you don't want to be. B, you will be able to convert that mentor into sponsor, because if that person, male or female or otherwise, is sitting in a table where a decision is being made and is happy with what he's or she's seeing of you, they will want you to be influencing that table, right? So you can't be on every table, but your mentors will be on different tables, right? So have multiple mentors. Those would be my 3 advices, Pratik.
Great, Sheenam. Yes.
Yeah.
And with that, we are coming to the last segment, Sheenam, where it will be a rapid fire round just to understand a bit more about you. So, starting with that, how would you define your leadership style?
I get a lot of energy through people, right? Just having and working with a young mindset, them telling me and me basically learning from them is something that gives me a lot of energy. So that is what I love to do.
Okay, great. One lesson you have learned that you wish you had known at the beginning of your career?
That learning never stops.
Okay. A habit or a practice that has been instrumental in your personal growth and success?
I think I don't give up. Right.
Okay.
So there have been, like I told you, in a career of 30 years, you would fall. I have never told myself I can't do it. Right. So everything has been possible.
Okay, great. A wish on your bucket list for this year?
For this year, personal, professional?
Can be any.
I would want to go to a beach that I have not visited yet. I'm a beach person, so go to a new island maybe.
Okay, great. So till now, which has been your favorite one?
I've done Goa, I've done Andaman, I've done Pondicherry. I've done a couple of beaches outside. I've done Mangalore. So I've done Sri Lanka. I've gone to Bentota. So I've done a lot of beaches. So find a new one possibly where I've maybe a non-Southeast East Asian beach. I've done all the Southeast Asian beaches, so across Malaysia, Thailand, and all the Southeast Asian beaches have been done. So maybe go out somewhere, maybe South America or something like that.
Okay, great. And Sheenam, if not the current profession, the tech aspect, then what had you been doing?
See, a younger me would have told you a teacher, but I don't think I have the patience for being a teacher. I would have been possibly in the hospitality industry with people. I love to be with people. So,
Okay.
yeah, I actually haven't thought about this question. So,
no worries. Thank you so much, Sheenam, for your time. And as we bring this enlightening conversation to a close, we reflect on the diverse perspectives that you have shared and the depth of inclusivity gained. It's been a journey not just through the intricacies of the topics that we have discussed, but also the exploration of thoughts and experience. Some internal thoughts, the internal struggles, along with the external ones. So I would say that I will be carrying forward a lot many insights that I have gained from this conversation and applying to my endeavors. And I hope so the audience also would do the same for their growth. So thank you so much for being with us, Sheena.
Thank you, Pradeep. What you're doing is really building small inspirational moments for people, and I hope I'm sure actually that both men and women will take out a lot from the series that you guys run. So congratulations on that, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you everyone to joining us on this journey, and do keep watching this space for similar inspiring conversations. Till then, take care.